Hi, welcome back to my channel. I am Kiana, also known as Kanna, I'm the creator of this channel. And I've tried to film this video about 3 times already, and each time it's just been, it hasn't been good. And I've been unsatisfied with it, but I'm just like, now, let me go ahead and do the video. So, okay, first things first, and always, Black Lives Matter. Also, social distance, because the state of the world today it's a mess, to put it lightly. And it's terrifying, especially for Black people, because things are going on and people are seeing it on video, and things are getting done, but the things that we need done aren't happening quick enough, and the people who need to be held accountable aren't being held accountable. So Black Lives Matter, I will link down below some organizations and everything that you can donate to. And so yeah, please support Black Lives Matter. Please also social distance, because COVID is still out here, and I still have to social distance and quarantine because I work in healthcare. So yeah, there's that. And let's get into this video. So today's video is going to be how I wrote a novella in 2 years, what I learned, and hopefully what I've learned can be tailored to what if you're writing a novella or a book or a novel. Those are all the same thing. What am I doing? But if you are writing something long form and you want some tips, hopefully what I learned while writing this novella can help you. But for now, let's get truly into the video. So I have my notes right here in this notebook, and first things first, the story that I wrote is on Wattpad. It's vastly unedited. It's like a complete first draft, and I'm in the process of editing it now. I will link it down below if you do want to read it. It is about a Black girl who is just out of college, and she's back in a hometown that she doesn't want to be in, which is very, very loosely based off of my life. There are 30 chapters in this, and when I finished the novella and before I started editing, there were 78 pages, and 28,714 words. That's novella length right there. Now, while I'm editing, it's still 30 chapters because I'm still working on the edits. I'm currently at like chapter 11 during edits. The word count now is 33,887 words and 87 pages. So I have added in 11 pages of writing as of the time that I'm making this video, and as of the time that this story is being edited. So let's start with my characters. So my main points in this for my characters is how to differentiate my characters, what are their places in the story, who they were, who Kaya, my main character, was, how she grew, and also how to show character development, character growth throughout the story from the beginning to the end. How do I want Kaya to be different? So differentiate characters. What I realized when I was writing is that each character is like a one-off. I have all their distinctive backstories in my little encyclopedia of writing. I have all of their backstories, but I didn't put much of them into the story. I know their likes, their dislikes, their crushes, their birthdays, all of that, but that was not in the first draft. And so I've been adding that. Ways to differentiate, of course, would be to have like a little character profile written down for your characters, like their hair color, their eye color, height, weight, personalities, skin tone, most definitely, especially if you're writing a person of color. And not a skin tone like that's based off of food. I don't want to hear chocolate colored skin or caramel or something like that, because that's been used for years to describe people of color. And we are not food. We will never be food. All right, you guys aren't cannibals. And so once you have figure out how to differentiate that, especially their personalities, you want to bring their personalities to the story, which is what I didn't do. Like, one of my characters is a gossip. I didn't incorporate that into the story until way later, when it could have been incorporated earlier and it could have moved the plot along, or lack thereof. So, like, characterize your characters. Make them real, make them come off of the page. That goes on to the next point, who they were. I have characters I have a photographer, an event planner, a mechanic, a community, like the development, and an administrator, basically. And I didn't show how their personalities and their work ethic and everything showed in their jobs. So they're not just one thing. I needed to expand on them and expand on who they were and all of that. Who Kaya was. Kaya, she's my main character, as I mentioned earlier, and at the beginning of the story, she is doubtful, kind of depressed, and she's not where she wants to be in life, so that has her down. And there's also like a little bit of anxiety in her because of the simple fact that she is going to a place that she never wanted to come back to, a place where she was bullied and made fun of, and she didn't really have anyone with her, like any friends, any best friends. She had like a friend, but she didn't have any best friends. Like, she didn't have people that she wanted to keep in contact with after school. And so now that she's back, she has to figure out what she's going to do and how she's going to live her life, kind of. And so into the next point, how she grew. I wanted to introduce characters that were in her school, but also they didn't. What can I say? They were in her school, but they didn't impact her as much as they have now, and so that impact is going to be shown throughout. And with that, I need to show how each character has grown, because there is no true antagonist in the story, and each character has like a little arc, and I want to show that better. The next section is plotting. Full disclaimer, I did not plot this at all. I didn't know what I was doing. I just wrote and went with it. I am partially a plotter, partially a pantser, but I'm more pantser than plotter. So let's see. Alright, so what I wrote down in my notes, I'm all about adventure in writing, but how do I do something contemporary? Which is what I had a little bit. It was actually kind of easier for me to write a contemporary story than a fantasy story, and I love writing fantasy. I love the world building aspect of it. I love having different magical systems and cultures and all of that. But I was never a contemporary person. I'll read contemporary, but I won't write it until now. So that's what I had to figure out. So I had to see if I had a set plot or not. Was it character driven or plot driven? And by the end, it was definitely character driven. But what are the plot points that take your story to each event? Like, the plot point, Kaya, she comes back home. Next plot point, the big interview. Plot point after that, her getting the job and her meeting all of these people. After that, what else is going on? The future of the romance, her rediscovering her love of another hobby that she used to have, and then so on and so forth. Like, they were just general points for me, but I didn't have them written down, but I knew what I wanted. But that's all the plot that I had, and it was all, and the plot that I had was all based on Kaya's growth. The next topic is setting. The town that I created is completely fictional. It is based off of my hometown. My hometown is not as negative as the hometown in the story. Well, yeah. So when I was thinking of the setting, I had to do the name of the town, characterization of the town, because how you show the town is how people are going to perceive it in the story and in real life. And the good and bad sides. I didn't really show the good sides of that town. I showed the bad sides. I didn't show because she came from a small town, so I didn't show the sense of community that was in the town. I did say some, like, there was tension in the town, but I didn't really show that. And looking back at it as I was going through and trying to figure out what I need to edit, I realized that when you have a small town, when you're doing something from a small town, do the research. Small towns are close-knit. You know everybody. Like, my family has been in my small town for over 300 years. So most people in that county are my cousins. Like, I don't know all of them because my family is too big to comprehend. But I didn't show that in my story. I didn't show how close-knit some of the people were to their parents, or I didn't even show parents. Like, what kind of trope? I went and followed a whole anime adventure trope where the parents are not involved whatsoever. And so I learned that I needed to involve the parents. Next next topic is issues. I was halfway done with the story, and my flash drive somehow bent inside of my computer, and I was able to get the flash drive out, but I lost the original file and the file of another fantasy story that I was writing, and I now no longer know where the flash drive is. So I can't get it soldered together to try to get my files off, and I need to find it. And so halfway through the story, I had literally completed a new chapter, and then the very next morning my flash drive was messed up. And so I had to just keep going from what was left on my main computer. And thankfully it was just a chapter behind, because I had just completed a chapter, but I had to literally write from, like, scrap the plans that I had because my memory is trash. And so I forgot what I was writing in that chapter and start anew. And I actually like this story better because of it. And it had me changing the direction of the story, because all of these things that I had planned in the story didn't happen. And they didn't happen because of that freak accident with my flash drive. So I went to a new lane, and I realized that I liked it. Like, a few plot points that I had planned still happened. But the outcome was different, and I started actually helping my character grow through that. So while I am thankful, I'm still kind of mad. This is my dog, AJ. Okay. Next issue I had was, should there be a love interest or should there not be a love interest? And as someone who loves romance, I had to have a love interest. But I was like, I had an original love interest, and then his best friend showed up, and I liked the best friend more, and he turned out to be love interest. Yeah, I actually had a reader comment on that story, and the way I wrote the chapter in the beginning was set up that the first dude would be the love interest. But then his friend showed up, and I just went like that. I'm like, oh yeah, no, let's have his friend be love interest instead. And I'm actually kind of thankful for that, because the first dude ended up being, they were all friends by the end of it, but the second guy, the one she actually ended up with, was much better for her overall than the original crush, because with the original crush there would have been a whole lot of drama, because he had a girlfriend, and the girlfriend was Kaya's friend when Kaya was growing up, but they were no longer friends after his girlfriend started hanging out with other people. She was the golden girl, he was the golden boy, and they were pushed together, and Kaya was left in the wind. And now the golden girl does not like Kaya, so I was not going to have two girls fighting over a dude. No, that is not the way you should do things. And I was tired of reading that in book, because sometimes the guy isn't even worth it. Like, what's the point? The next interest was motivation. It was motivation on her part and on my part, because I lose motivation real quickly. It took me 2 years to write it, because I kept quitting in between, but putting it on Wattpad actually gave me incentive to write. And Kaya's motivation, I didn't know whether or not she had motivation. I didn't really give her true motivation until I started editing. And her friends, what are their motivations as well? I didn't include those in the story. I didn't say what their dreams were, what their hopes and aspirations were, and I should have done that looking back on it. And the last issue, lack of research, because, oh boy, there are quite a few things in that story that I need to actually research better, because I was just writing it off the top of my head. And one of those issues is the role of social workers, because social workers are involved in that story for the context of a couple of characters, and I need to know guardianship cases. I need to know the legality of things, what a producer does, especially an entrepreneur what an entrepreneur does, essentially, how to build their brand, their business, all of that. I needed to figure out and research what goes into that. So, on to the last section, because I finished the story. And the final section is what I aim to fix. So the first thing I plan to fix, characterization, because they need better characterization, ASAP. Kaya needs I need to differentiate them, because two of the characters I accidentally mixed up myself, and I don't need to do that, so I need to fix that. The second one was more setting. Like I said earlier, I need to include more of the setting and show some of the good sides, show the power of community instead of the bad sides, all of the bad sides. This next one, more insight to Kaya's life, my main character. I included her life, but I didn't include specific scenes, like a memory or her family. I have mentioned she has an aunt and uncle, and they're mentioned in 2 chapters, and then they're just forgotten. That shouldn't have happened. Her mom was supposed to visit, never visited. That needs to happen, because if her mom is one of the people she loves, her mother is the person that she loves the most, and her mother was against her going back to that town, but her mother loves her enough to say, I can come back for you if you need me to, even though she won't, because her mother is living her best life. Next thing I need to fix are the plot holes. Plot holes galore. I need to fix those. I need to write down what's going on and where they, I just need to fix all that. Hi, so the video cut off before I could finish, but all I want to say was that I wanted to do a better redemption arc for one of the characters, but that was about it. So I hope you enjoyed this video. I hope that you got some helpful advice from it, and I hope that you guys are writing to your heart's content while I edit this monster.
But thanks. Hope you enjoy the video, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.